Go for it.
All right. Hey Internet, I'm Chaz.
And I'm Dan. Welcome to Wine is Serious Business, episode 175. We've got 2 interviews back to back this month. We had a really exciting opportunity. Daniel Imish, a winemaker from the Mosel Valley in Germany, is in town doing some promotions, and he was kind enough to sit and do a show with us tonight. So why don't you tell us a little bit about about your estate and what you love about Riesling right now.
Alright, so my name is Daniel Imish, as I said before. I'm 33 years old. We are an old wine growing family in Enkirch, that's next to Traben-Trarbach, 30 kilometers from Bernkastel. Our family grows wine since 1425, which is kind of a long time. And,
That's a very long time.
And and I'm in now 16th generation, and before I decided to go into this wine business, I did some studying, like I studied economics, politics, German and English in order to become a teacher. And during my summer vacations I worked for several companies like BMW in Great Britain and so. And I always thought like working in an office wouldn't be an appropriate word for the next work for the next 30 or 40 years. So that was the time when I decided, okay, let's do some good stuff. And I came back to my hometown in order to become a winemaker. That was in 2007. So after doing an apprenticeship as a wine grower or winemaker, as you say, or Winzer, we say in Germany. I come home in last year, and and I'm doing this together with my father. My father's 69 now, and he's kind of retiring each year a bit more, and I'm doing every year a bit more, and I have my own wines, which I'm really into it, and here I am. So
awesome! Yeah, it's an exciting story. What wine would you like to start with first tonight?
Of course, I brought several wines, but I would like to show you tonight our Riesling Sekt, sparkling Sekt. It's Brut. All our wines are fermented wild or spontaneously, and with the Sekt, my father started doing Sekt, I think it was 25 years ago. And at first he figured out which vineyard would be best for this Sekt, and once he just come up and said, okay, we use just one single vineyard for this Sekt, which is Zekt Vineyard, which is really steep cliff. The wines are at minimum 90 years old. I said 90, not 19, and. So basically the wines grow on really steep slopes, merely rocks, and this is when he figured out would be the best way to have a mineralic, high acidity Sekt, which smells fruity but also has really light freshness, and the Sekt stays 3 years on the yeast, and everything is done by ourselves, so we merely use machines because it's so steep. We have to do everything by ourselves. Even all the steps in making Sekt is like the riddling, and so it's done by hand. Even the seal here is made by hand. So it's Brut flavor, and it's great actually.
A lot of extra work put into it. And for those of you who don't know, Sekt is sparkling Riesling, and you see it fairly regularly throughout the Mosel, but not so much. Not so much in the American market. So your importer and our friends Teutonic Wine Company has been bringing in more Sekt and trying to introduce the Portland market to more of that, which is really good.
Yeah, and interestingly, this is how the Sekt was how Barnaby Tuttle from Teutonic Wine Company and of course Olga Tuttle, when we met, it was a wine presentation in our area called Riesling Garden, and Barnaby showed up with Ewald Mosel, and we were talking, and he said, "Wow, man, I really enjoy your Sekt," and we start talking, and then he said, "Oh, man, I really want to import your Sekt, and Now that was in 2010, and now it's 2013, and here I am in Portland, and I'm really excited because it's my first day here in the US, and everybody is here is so nice, and it's really up to, oh, this German guy is so nice, and it's come over, so it's really great.
Yeah, wine makes good friends, right?
Right,
Wine
exactly.
It really does,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's always, wine is always, knowing new people or getting to know new people and finding friends and, sharing. Wine is all about sharing with your friends, and this is the fun about it, actually. And so I said before, it's a single vineyard, it's a single vintage, and it's a 2009 Riesling Sekt, and it's also 100% Riesling.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I think some of that minerality really comes through on the nose too.
You can smell it right over, so.
A little lighter and definitely not like really sweet or fruity. It's more of a delicate nose, I think.
And it's called, it's actually Methode traditionnel, or
Yep.
you say it's sort of the same.
Yeah, it's made the same way they make champagne.
Right. But we're not allowed to call it champagne, obviously.
Right. Yeah, a lot of hard work. So.
Some people even call it Mosel champagne. So.
Don't tell the French.
So it has, because it stays 3 years on yeast, it has a really nice Mosel. I don't know if it's...
The bubbles are mousse, but bubbles.
Yeah. So, and they're really small, and it has a really nice tasting, nice flavor, citrus, bit of apples, but still it's really, I love that smell. So.
Yeah, the apple lime thing is coming through on the nose, but a little bit of yeast as well.
Yeah.
Aromas. It's very, very nice, along with the minerality we were talking about before.
Good complexity on the fruit, on the palate, I think too. The limes definitely come through with some good forces like crisp acidity, a little touch of lime peel, keeping things dry across the back of the palate. But the apple flavors, and even just a hint of peaches. I think like when Riesling's really sweet, sometimes you get like those really strong peach flavors. Sure. There's just a hint of that here.
Definitely, yeah.
And really, the bubbles pair really well with the acidity. The feel of the bubbles that you were talking about before are very, very nice here. There's no abrasive character to them at all. Very nice.
So, and as for the wine estates, we do around 1,700 cases per year with all the wines, and we produce nowadays 5,000 bottles of Zekt, but every year it's getting a bit more, so it's really a nice product.
I want to say I've seen this label before. And
it's been on the market since 2011 probably.
2011, yeah.
So I've had it before and enjoyed it before. I remember as soon as I saw it. So
and it's got like the good fruit up front, but it really delivers the feeling of like a dry sparkling wine on the back end, and I think it would work really well with food, or if something just nice and that nice crisp dry sensation to keep the palate clean.
And which is also quite fun is that all our wines, or also the Zekt, has at maximum 12.0 or 12.5% of alcohol, which makes these even really light wines like the Teutonic guys do. You can drink up a bottle without any problems having a headache at the end of the day, so that's kind of fun actually.
That's very nice.
It is.
We'll do a little rinse with the second wine here, but while we're doing that, you tell us a little bit about the second wine.
Okay, the second wine is called Eisbruch. Eisbruch. The correct translation would be something like ice fall or ice break. It's 2011 vintage, and it's barely a Riesling Trocken Spätlese. We don't put Spätlese on the label because German customers tend to see in a Spätlese a sweet wine. But in order to don't confuse the people, we just put it out. So, and and it's Eisbruch is a single vineyard. Also, it's growing on totally blue slate. It has 90% of stones in it and 10% of normal soil. So it's really like the Zekt is growing on slate or on rocks. And the Eisbruch, as you maybe can see, it's trademarked, which means there's a story behind it, which goes like there was a new German wine law in 1971, which states actually that you aren't allowed to put smaller vineyards than 10,000 square meters on your label. And
it's pretty sad, right? Like
right,
a lot of knowledge is lost that way. Yeah.
And we always loved this this name for this vineyard. So because it's really catchy. I mean, even for Americans, Eisbruch is something you should remember. Even the ice is something you should. Okay, I had something with ice, so it's totally imaginable. And then I figured out if you put a trademark on the label, then you're allowed to put it on there. So I trademarked just the vineyard's name and put it on a label that was in 2.8, and yeah, here we are, Eisbruch. And why it's called Eisbruch is the Mosel River flows directly by this vineyard, and if the river is covered with ice, the ice breaks on this on this direction, on this vineyard. So this is when the people say, "Oh, it's Eisbruch." So
nice.
Yeah.
That makes sense. This is the second time I've heard of somebody doing this, and I think it's really great that people in Mosel are despite the law, really trying to preserve the identity of these plots. Especially in your case, where they've been known and farmed, as a distinct region for hundreds of years. It's really great that you're making the effort to preserve that.
Yeah, and it's all because we want to preserve or show this idea of terroir to the people, because the Eisbruch vineyard has certainly different terroir than for example the Steffensberg, which would be a sweet wine, and by that we have the opportunity to show the people that a terroir is not some kind of an empty word.
Nice.
It has something to it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the Mosel provides as much proof of that as Burgundy.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Oh, the nose on this is fantastic and kind of exciting
Smells
already.
really good.
Like this great interplay of like citrus. Yeah, and the peaches I was talking about, even some like peach pit and peach skins, like a little bit of earthy component.
Yeah. And it has really nice acidity. The minerality is really also already in the nose. So
Yeah.
you can smell the rocks actually.
I'm struggling to come up with characters for the nose, but it's just very, very pleasing. Like it's very peachy, sort of cantaloupe, but I keep catching this like fresh character that reminds me of sort of like parsley or something, but it's not so much there. But yeah, it smells wonderful. So
For sure.
love it.
You said this is all spontaneous ferment too?
Right.
The texture here is just fantastic.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
amazing.
Thank you.
it's like got this smooth character, but remaining light without getting too heavy, which I don't see that often in Mosel wine. I like it too when it gets a little heavy. I like the sweeter wines. I like the dry wines, but that bit of contrast, right? When it tastes like it's going to be heavier, but it has that light sensation, really engages the mind. I think as well as the palate. So.
I would agree. I mean, it's got that. There's so much texture and so much roundness on the palate that you sort of expect it to be sweet going into the finish, but it ends very, very cleanly, and the acidity kind of rises up in the finish, and there's no sweetness, and but yet the fruit characteristics are really, really nice. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Great apples,
Yeah.
great, like, again, light, not heavy peach flavors. They linger on the palate, yeah, and the acidity is really slow to set in. It kind of sinks into the molars a little bit. Dries the mouth out really, just gently and slowly over time. But it's fantastic. And I think, you probably see this a lot. Like, a lot of people will make Trocken wines, and they're a little harsh sometimes, or the acidity is a little out of balance
firm
with the fruit.
acidity. Yeah.
It's fantastic to see this kind of full and ripe and delicious fruit flavor with all the lightness and the cleanness that the Trocken style can bring. I'll even admit that I'm more partial to fruity wines than dry wines, but this is exactly the kind of dry wine, the kind of Trocken wine that I like to drink when I find them. And I even buy some to keep on hand for when friends in the States tell me Riesling's too sweet. It's always got too much sugar.
Right.
You should try this one.
Try this thing out.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's the point.
And Germans too, I suppose, right? Do you still fight that with Germans, or yeah?
It's always the same. Well, but we are on a kind of a crusade.
Yeah.
So to show the world that Riesling is not just all about sweet wines. You can make all kinds of. You can make a really great dry wine, an off-dry wine, or fine herb, a Zekt. You can make everything out of a Riesling. So, and it's always delicious.
Yeah.
And well, this is the fun about it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I've been really getting into the dry Rieslings lately. Like, I've been a fan of sweet Rieslings for a lot of years. That was sort of what I really started out on and really fell in love with and collected a lot of initially. And in a short amount of time, within the last year or two, I've really grown to love dry German Rieslings. I think America produces a small amount of them that I don't always find interesting, but Germany's been consistently producing dry Rieslings that just in the last year I've got to try that I've really loved, and this is right on par with the best of them. So love them, fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
What's the last wine we have here without a label? So interested to try this thing and hear the story behind it.
So it's kind of a new project. I come up someday. We call it the Bridge Wine. It's a project. Oh, thanks.
Yep.
It's a project between myself and the guys from the Teutonic Wine Company. And the story behind is since they started importing our wines and Zekt, they visit us several times. They said, okay, let's come over to the US, and I really thought, we should do some really cool project to show some kind of appreciation to what we are going to do, and what's Barnaby and Olga really wanted to show these people, that they are really into it, showing you guys that the German Rieslings are really something special, from family-owned businesses, not like you said before, those sweet Rieslings which you merely don't want to drink at all. So, and I said, just once it just pops up in my mind, so and I said, okay, so here we go. I take a really good dry wine, which is Spätlese Trocken from the Eisbruch 2012 vintage, and I bring it over to you guys, and we mix it up with your best stuff you have, best Riesling you have. And he had 2 barrels of a Crow Valley Riesling, and
good vineyard.
So, and I just brought 2 bottles in my suitcase, so I was really excited how this is gonna work out, because I don't know, I haven't done it in my lifetime. My father hadn't done it before that, because there we have different acidity levels, different PhDs. Oh no, PhD, no, pH, and so I don't know how this would work out, but. So we mix the wines, and it's 50% of my wine and 50% of his wine. So in total, it's 1,000 liters of Spätlese Trocken and the Crow Valley Riesling. And his wine is not already fermented, so it tastes a bit more yeasty and
sure.
Not 100% complete, but of course you get an imagination of what it should be actually.
And the natural ferments are like that, right? You just have to wait.
Sure.
You just have to wait for it.
So, but we should give it a try. So.
All right.
So it's kind of a world premiere somehow.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's really
it's
cool.
like sharing with friends. So it's.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, this does sort of have the aroma of a little unfermented wine,
right,
in it. Yes,
it will have
but it's why don't they just sell that as juice? I mean, it's so wonderful.
And they do it also, right? Like Federweizen, right? Yeah, and nobody in the States does that, which is frustrating because it's so delicious, right?
Okay.
Like even the simple, like even Müller-Thurgau, right, makes tasty Federweizen, right?
Exactly, exactly. And you should eat some Zwiebelkuchen with it. So.
Yeah.
It's something.
The minerality shows on the nose already, I think, too,
yeah,
which is
absolutely
great.
Which was already a part of the Crow Vineyard as well.
I like some gold apples, kind of.
Really, really bright, bright apple aromas, some lemons.
Yeah, lemons, a little bit, and stones again, right? Just that stony character.
River stones, something.
Wow.
Pour you more.
Thank you.
Good complexity here too, which I guess you kind of expect, right, from two interesting vineyards.
For sure.
Man, there's a lot going on, and a long evolution. Wow.
Yeah, this really takes a long time to express itself.
I think those gold apple flavors start in right away. A little bit of the like yellow peel as well. And then it evolves into like green apples and limes and getting a touch of something tropical.
Touch of peachy.
Yeah.
Touch peachy and
a little bit of that yeast flavor. I think you're talking about, just a touch of that, like on the finish. Good acidity again.
You can also taste always the acidity, which is probably my vineyard or my wine, but always it makes this tropical things. This is definitely from the Crow vineyard, and which is so. It tastes so great. Actually, before that I was I don't know if it's gonna work out, but so we are so happy that it worked so well, and yeah, you should be up for it.
Yeah, and is it just like it's a straight 50-50 blend too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was.
You guys try going up and down in things to see what the differences
no.
were, or just 50-50 and like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It should be very simple. So like wine drinking should be also very simple sometimes, and this is the main idea behind it. So there's no everything we say here tonight is everything about truth. We don't lie or so. It's so we say just the really true things, and this is all about wine.
Awesome.
It's just what you could bottle like this. This is really enjoyable to drink currently, but knowing this wine now and then knowing what I know about the Crow Vineyard wines that I've had in the past, this will be delicious as a finished wine. Pretty exciting, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. If you're watching this, keep your eyes open for it. Like, definitely worth checking out.
So, getting towards the end, was there anything else you want to talk about before we sort of wrap it up?
I was really impressed when I came here. Barnaby and Olga showed me all the time. We went to all these different places and to all these urban wineries you have here.
Oh yeah, cool.
We don't have that in Germany. We have a lot of wine estates and wineries, but not like these urban things. And last Sunday they made this awesome Schwenking Fest, and which was really an honor because this was also my birthday, and so all these crazy people, all these crazy winemakers were coming over here, and they were all so nice that is unbelievable. Really, they were so come on, you should taste my wines, and it's really like this. What I really like here about Oregon is it's a small wine community, and everybody is so friendly. Nobody talks behind your back, and everybody wants to show you your wines, and this is so amazing. I wish we have this part-time in Germany as well, but it's not always, because sometimes we are, it's always business sometimes,
Yep, nice.
So,
yeah, totally.
and but still here it's so different, and it's a young wine culture, and that makes it so great to be here, and it's a really honor to be here and stay with Olga and Barnaby, and it's so much fun. I really hope I'm allowed to come back. So
I
don't see that now.
I hope we come back too, and that's something that we've always loved about the Oregon wine community too, is that it is really friendly, and that people are really supportive of each other.
Right.
And I guess that's, we were talking about that. A difficult thing about being a young wine community is that we don't have hundreds of years of experience with our vineyards and weather cycles, and we can't ask our grandfathers how to deal with different situations. but like you said, we don't have the history of the business, and everybody's trying to come up together, and I guess that's a nice thing about the younger wine community. And one other thing I wanted to ask you about, like, so you kind of dabbled in the corporate world for a while, decided to come back to farming, and I think something that's that the Mosel Valley has kind of in parallel with Portland is that the people that choose to stay and farm, by the large part, don't do it because they're going to get filthy rich. They do it because
That's true.
Because the land there matters to them, and the history and the story of their family and the vineyards matter to them. And I was wondering, you know, if you could talk a little bit about what the young people in Mosel think about coming back, like what in particular, like that you hear from your friends, or like what's driving people and really making people passionate about continuing to make wine.
Well, it's different. I mean, it's like you said, you don't make a big fortune out of making wine. So you have many people quit with their wine estates because they say, oh, I don't want to do this hard work in the vineyard. I don't want to deal with alcohol. I don't want to make wine. I just rather go and have an office job or do something else, like being an electrician or whatever. And but the ones who stay do this really for with really honor and with really they do it by the bottom of their heart. So
Yeah.
and this is something which is also important. It's not just a job which you do for several years and then you say, oh come on, I don't want to do it anymore. I quit and do something else. It's a lifetime commitment, and you have to decide before you do that you are probably, well, you should do that for the rest of your life. And for those who stay will stay forever and do it really try to figure out how, and even to improve every year, to do it a bit better. And those who don't, just they lose something. I mean, they lose tradition, they lose what their parents, their grandfathers, their great-grandfathers did, and this is something sad actually, because something gets lost somehow. And well, I mean, it's their decision, and but still, it's something sad.
And I found, I don't know if you knew this, that if a vineyard's abandoned and it's not sold, the state makes you tear up the vines, right? So it could be 100-year-old vines. Tear them out of the ground and throw them on the fire, right? So even if somebody buys them back, like that terroir, like that old vineyard, again, it's another.
Is there a purpose for that?
I mean, the purpose is to prevent illnesses.
Okay.
So, that's the main purpose behind it. It makes sense somehow, but still, as you said, it would be better if those wouldn't happen. So
yeah. So for those of us who love
Amazing.
drinking German wine, thank you so much to people like you who stick around
to come back to it, yeah.
to preserve and farm in a way that preserves terroir and tries to make wine that represents your region. I really appreciate it, and
I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, and really happy you were able to come talk to us tonight. So I guess that's the end of the show, and you get to ask a question of everybody who's watching, and hopefully we'll get some answers in the comments to what you have to ask.
Have you ever been to the Mosel? You should.
Nice. Easy question. Let's get lots of comments. Show some love for Daniel for coming to visit with us. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
cheers.
you.
And look forward to seeing you someday in the future.
Prost.
Prost.
Prost.